We asked you all to share what questions you still had about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and we're here tonight to give you some answers. It's almost party time, and this Halloween party must be explored. Let's go do it. Hi-ho everybody, this is Rob with Ear Scouts coming to you from the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. We're a little late to the party this year because they actually scheduled the first parties at the same time as D23 Expo. We were on the other side of the country, so since we're a little bit late, we decided we were going to do this video differently than we normally do. Normally, we kind of give you the grand tour of the party, but lots of other channels have already done that. So what we're going to do instead, we're going to answer the questions that you still have after watching those other videos. We asked on our different social media channels and Patreon and over on our forum at earscouts.com, what are the questions you still have about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party? We gathered together the best of those questions and we're going to answer them in tonight's video. One of the questions we got asked a lot is, what time can you start lining up? And how can you make sure you're the first in line to meet Jack and Sally? If you've never gone to a Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party before, you might not know, but meeting Jack and Sally is one of the most popular things you can do. They meet folks up in the same theater where Mickey meets folks, the Town Square Theater, right as you come in there on Main Street. That line is going to get really packed really fast, but they're not going to let anyone into that line until they get their wristband for the party. So that means that even though I'm inside the park right now, I can't go get in that line. That's why I'm here at Tomorrowland. There are 4 different places you can get your wristbands for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. One is up front at the main entrance. There are 3 inside the park. If you've got a day ticket or you're using an annual pass, you can come inside and go across from Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor, where Stitch's Great Escape used to be. That's where I am right now. This is probably the closest inside the park spot to get to Jack and Sally. You could also go to PhilharMagic in Fantasyland or Tortuga Tavern in Adventureland. I got here around 3 o'clock. And there was actually already a line formed here. There were a few people ahead of me. I asked, and they said that they got here at 2:30. Eric has been waiting here a really long time. He got here a little after 2, and he's waiting up at the front of the park. So we're gonna test this out. I'm gonna wait from here. He's gonna wait from up there. We're gonna see who gets to see Jack and Sally first and how long it takes the second person to get to meet them. Spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Eric. But definitely there's a huge advantage to enjoying the park during the day if you have the ability to. So we're gonna see how much time does it cost us in line for Jack and Sally getting our wristband inside as opposed to waiting out front. Another question we got asked a lot was, how early can you start lining up out front? So here inside the park, you can start as early as you want. There's no limit. We asked the folks who arrived first today at the front of the park, and they said that they got there at 2 p.m. and everything was already set up. They were allowed to immediately get in line. So 2 o'clock seems like a safe bet. You might be able to arrive even a little bit earlier than that. From what I understand this year, they have an initial kind of holding area until they have the queues ready. So you'd stay there until they open up the regular queues for the party, and then you'd move over. But it seems that at 2 p.m., those regular queues were already set up. And speaking of coming in to enjoy the park during the day, one of the questions we got was, is it worth it to come to Magic Kingdom during the day if you're going to be going to the Halloween party at night? We actually did an entire video all about that very question, so I'm not going to answer that here. I'm going to let you go watch that video, but we'll put a link to it in the description down below. I can tell you that as of right now, the wait time on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is 35 minutes. So that gives you a hint that maybe today was a very good day to be in the park. It is now 3:30. We are T-minus 30 minutes before they officially start handing out those wristbands. The line has actually gotten fairly long here, though most of these people, I would say, showed up in the last 15 minutes or so. So I would say 3 o'clock is probably a good time. If you want to be here towards the front of the line, between 3 and 3:15, you should be good. I do want to ask another question about lining up here in the park, and this comes from Jessica. Jessica wanted to know if she has multiple members of her family who have tickets, do they all have to be here at the wristband distribution point, or can she just pick up their wristbands by showing their tickets? Unfortunately, the answer to that is they all have to be there. The reason for that is the cast members are going to physically put the wristband on each person. These wristbands are not meant to be taken off because they don't want you trading the wristbands around, obviously. So everyone does have to be present in order to get a wristband. Now let's go up front and see what things look like from the front of the park with Eric.
In a couple of minutes, we'll open. If you guys go in, your party mats, if you don't have one yet, are free to tunnel. I'll wait for them. If you want to get your treat bag, you're going to go in and stay to your right-hand side. Everybody got that? Where are the treat bags? To the right. You got it.
Well, if there was any question about who was going to get to meet Jack and Sally first tonight, we just got the answer. It is 3:45. Eric has already been tapped into the park. He has his wristband, and he is in line right now to meet Jack and Sally. Unfortunately, I spoke to a cast member here. We're not going to get our wristbands here until 4 o'clock. So the folks coming in at the front are going to have a 20-minute head start. They started tapping in at 3:40. But I still have one other question I want to answer, which is how much longer is it going to take us to meet Jack and Sally than those folks entering at the front of the park? Today, they got in at 3:40. It's important to note that's going to depend a lot on logistics, how their staffing levels are, how many people are crowding the entrance. There's a lot of different things that determine what time they open the gates up front for party guests. So it may not be 3:40 on the day that you're here, but today it was 3:40. At the moment we entered this queue, it was a posted 50-minute wait, which honestly, that was much better than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be at least over an hour, certainly maybe even closer to 2. However, as I got the good news that we only had a 50-minute wait, I got a text message from Eric. He was already done. Before I even made it into the line, Eric had already met Jack and Sally. So right now, Eric is going to go around the park and see if there's any other character lines that are forming, anything else that he can do right now while we're still stuck in line here waiting to meet Jack and Sally. I'm guessing it's going to be a lot more fun to watch what he's doing. So I'm going to toss you over to some footage from the Eric cam, and I'm going to wait patiently here and let you know how long it takes to get through this line. So Eric's been doing a little bit of investigating while we've been in this line, and the good news is the line here is really clipping along. The other good news is he learned when the next character meet and greet is gonna open up. It's gonna be right at 6 o'clock, and it's gonna be Mirabelle meeting with Bruno. That's gonna be over at the usual Mirabelle meeting spot beside the castle. Another really popular meet and greet that sometimes starts early is Stitch over in Tomorrowland. He's usually dressed as Elvis. I haven't seen his costume this year. So next, I think Eric is gonna head over that way and see if a line is forming yet for Stitch. It is 5:15 p.m. and I just finished meeting Jack and Sally. Eric has actually been all around the park, checking to see where lines were forming for other character meet and greets. He even rode Big Thunder Mountain while I was in this line. So, if you're wondering if it's better to get your wristband inside or at the front, if your plan is to meet Jack and Sally, the answer is definitely going up to the front. One question we got asked a lot was what we recommend doing between the time you can get in for the party, which is 4 p.m., and the time the party starts, which is 7. There's actually some stuff that you can do between 4 and 6, which is the period before the park closes, and then there's a lot more you can do from 6 to 7, which is that kind of in-between period when the park is closed, but the party hasn't officially started yet. We'll talk about that stuff in just a little bit, but right now I want to talk about the stuff you can be doing at this moment. So we already did the big one, meeting Jack and Sally. Eric didn't find any other character meet and greets that were starting tonight before that 6 p.m. mark. So we're not going to go meet any other characters. You could certainly ride rides right now. Another party thing you could do, though, is go eat some of these special Halloween treats that are available all day long. There are going to be some treats that they won't start serving until the party starts, but there are others that we can try right now. So we're going to go get a bite to eat, but first we're going to do something that is very important if you didn't come in from the front. There's this party entrance that you're going to see between Tony's and the confectionery. It's really important that you go through there. If you came in from the front, you would have been directed there, but if you're inside the park, you might not even know this is over here. The reason it's important to go in is because you're going to get your very first trick-or-treat item here. Also, there's sometimes fun things going on in this area. There might be a character, there might be a little mini dance party happening. You kind of never know what's going to be going on in this area as we enter, so let's go check it out.
Hi! We'll be getting a trick-or-treat badge tonight with all the candy you're going to get.
Alright, keep going. Let's go. Keep it moving. There's more people that need to see you, understand?
While the party isn't officially started yet, we've met Cruella DeVille. There's a little DJ set up in there. I feel like the party has now begun. We also, as we came in, got our first trick-or-treat spot. Now, you might notice I picked up this bag. Earlier when I came in, they gave me a regular trick-or-treat bag, but I'm going to use this one because a lot of people have been asking what are the options if you have specific dietary needs at the party. So this is called the allergy-friendly bag. When you go to trick-or-treat spots, instead of giving you the regular candy, they're going to give you one of these tokens. And then at the end of the night, you can trade in this token for treats that are safe for you to eat. Eric is going to be using the regular treat bag tonight. I'm going to be using this. And then at the end, we'll compare. We'll see what was I able to get in my bag versus his, and just let you know what those allergy-friendly options are. Also, as we go around to eat different treats here at the party, we're going to be checking to see, are there vegetarian options, gluten-free options, options for folks with specific allergies or dietary needs. I am pleased to report that they did have a vegetarian version of the Halloween-themed hot dog. You could also get it gluten-free, so I did both. I got a vegetarian version of the hot dog with a gluten-free bun. It's important to note that the French fries and really anything that's deep fried here cannot be made gluten-free because there is some cross-contamination with the fryer. So we just got the regular French fry treat. These are the Chipotle barbecue pork and street corn fries. Obviously these are not vegetarian, they have the pork on them. They could make them without the pork though if you wanted. So they could bake these vegetarian, they just couldn't be gluten-free. I've never actually had one of their gluten-free buns. I've had the vegetarian hot dog before, but I don't know that I've ever had it in footlong form. So let's try the footlong vegetarian hot dog and gluten-free bun. So right off the bat, the gluten-free bun is a lot harder to eat because it just kind of split across the bottom. It's a little bit drier than a traditional bun. I don't really love the bun. I'm not a fan of the gluten-free. I think I might actually just eat this without the bun, which is what I would recommend. Unless you're just really used to gluten-free bread, this might not bother you, but it's very dry and a little bit crumbly. The hot dog itself, I'm kind of shocked this is vegetarian, to be honest with you. To me, it tastes very meaty. I'm actually 90% sure that that's a real hot dog. But otherwise, it's really good. And this is a surprisingly good dog, even without the pork on top. Next, I'm gonna try these fries. Now, these are just regular. These are as they would come for the Halloween season. They've got the pulled pork on there, and they've got some street corn, some cotija cheese. The pork has a nice, sweet, tangy barbecue sauce, which I'm really enjoying with the fries. I always love a salty, sweet combination. Those are really good, and they're available all day. So I would say that the fries for sure are a great treat. Unfortunately, I think we did get the real footlong. I don't think they actually offer a vegetarian footlong, so if you want to make sure you're getting vegetarian, don't ask for the footlong, ask for the regular vegetarian dog. I think what happened was the confusion in the kitchen because it was both gluten-free and vegetarian. I think they just read the order as a gluten-free bun and hold the pork. I don't think they got that it was supposed to be the vegetarian hot dog. So another thing that's important to note, if you're going to order anything vegetarian or gluten-free, this took a long time to come out. They brought our fry order out first, and it was actually a good 10-15 minutes before the gluten-free vegetarian dog came out. I would say you definitely want to budget that into your plan. We're actually a little bit late for what I wanted to do next, which is to hit Tiana's Bayou Adventure. We're going to head over that way, and I'll let you know when we get there why that's my pick for what you should do at 6 o'clock. Let's go do it. And the rain has now started. We did have a lot of questions about rain, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But first, I want to talk about why I'm here at Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The reason I wanted to do this at 6 is because this attraction has a virtual queue during the day, meaning you can't just get in line for this like you can any other ride. You have to book what's called a virtual boarding group. Either it's 7 a.m. or 1 p.m. It's kind of a pain. And what's nice is when you're here for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, starting at 6, which remember is the moment that the park closes, the virtual queue ends and you can just get into the standby line. Now, I've talked to some friends who came and got in this line right at 6 o'clock and they were able to walk onto the attraction. So if you're able to get here right at 6, that's definitely the best time to do it. People have also asked about the virtual queue over at Tron. That one's actually going away. So by the time this video comes out, it's already going to be over. No need to worry about the virtual queue at Tron, but here at Tiana's, it's still going to be running for a little while longer. So this is definitely a good thing to do right at 6 o'clock, assuming Tiana's is on your must-do list. And there goes the rain again. The one thing that really stinks about rain during Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is that the shows can't all go on as they normally would if it's raining. For example, the stage show involves a lot of dancing. They're not able to dance if the stage is wet because it becomes too slippery. They may be able to do a modified version of the show, but even then it's dependent on whether or not the rain is heavy and whether or not the rain has stopped at the time that they would be doing the show. For that reason, on nights when it's rainy, if it's not actively raining and it hasn't been raining in a little bit, you probably want to plan to go to that very first show of the night. In these first days of the party, there are 3 showings of the Hocus Pocus Villain Spelltacular. That's the stage show in front of the castle. Once we get closer to Halloween in October, they will open up a 4th showing as well. But for right now, we'll throw the times up on the screen. These are the times that you'll be able to see it right now. If this rain stops soon, I will probably try to go do that very first show. As for the fireworks, Jack Skellington is the host of the fireworks show, and he can't come out and perform as normal if it's too rainy. So that can be altered, but the fireworks themselves will typically go off as normal as long as it's not a complete monsoon that affects their ability to shoot the fireworks. And right now, it is starting to feel a little bit like a monsoon. So fingers crossed we're going to be able to see at least some of those shows tonight. So the other thing that can happen when you get rain is you can get lightning. And if there's lightning, then outdoor attractions like Tiana's Bayou Adventure go down. And that's exactly what just happened. So we're actually just about to board the ride, and apparently lightning struck somewhere inside the area of Walt Disney World. So we are now waiting. if the party starts and this ride hasn't started back up yet, we're gonna head back out and we'll show you guys more of the Halloween party. Unfortunately, Tiana did not come back online, so we did leave and take some shelter here at Pecos Bill, where they have some exclusive items for the Not So Scary Halloween party. I am pleased to report that the masa flatbread with chicken and butternut squash can be made both vegan and gluten-free. I think actually as it comes, it is gluten-free. You just have to let them know when you order it because they have to keep it separated from everything else on the line as they prepare it. I went ahead and ordered this the regular way, so this is gluten-free by itself. I didn't get the vegan option, which I think would involve not having the cream or the chicken or the cheese on there. This thing is massive. It's really big. If you're looking for something that's going to fill you up, this is definitely a good pick. Or if you want something to share, I'm going to take a bite with everything on there. It looks really good. I know one person had asked if there were going to be things available that were not spicy, because it seemed like all of the party food that wasn't a sweet item seemed to be a spicy item. This is definitely going to fit that bill. I don't get a lot of spiciness from this at all. It's that regular pulled chicken that you get here during the day at Pecos Bill. The base is masa, meaning it's made of cornmeal, and then there's a layer of butternut squash puree. So that cream sauce is apparently a cilantro pumpkin seed sauce. It does have a little queso fresco on there, and that tomato is actually a salsa fresca. I would say this is good. It's about on par with the things you get during the day here at Pecos Bill. If it was on the regular menu, I'd probably come back for it. But here at the party, I would probably try some of the more inventive dishes. This is, however, a great option if you need something that's gluten-free or something that can be made vegan. Next up, we're going to try this guava lemonade slushy with cheesecake whipped cream on top. Oh, wow. The topping is amazing. So the whipped cream on top is actually cheesecake foam, and it is heavenly. It's really good. The slushie itself is super sweet and pretty sour. I do taste the guava in there. It's pretty balanced between the guava and the lemonade. Finally, we're gonna try the spiced chocolate mousse bar. It looked kind of like a cake, but it's actually just mousse with some icing and decorations on top. That actually reminds me of a mousse version of Mexican hot chocolate. There's definitely chocolate flavor there, but even more prominent is the cinnamon. If I was coming back to the party, I would definitely get another one of these. It's really, really good. It is almost time for the first parade of the evening. You can see everyone lined up here in Frontierland. This is probably the most popular spot to watch the parade from, mainly because this is where the parade starts. My favorite place to watch the parade, however, is actually in front of the castle. The reason for that is you can watch the parade, the stage show, and the fireworks all one after another, all in the same spot. If you've got a big crew to wrangle, or if you're just looking for an easy way to get all these things done without looking for a spot for each and every one, I'm going to show you my favorite spot for all three. We're here right now at my favorite spot for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I love being kind of centered with the castle because that's going to give you the best view of the fireworks. I also like being on this side of the road that goes in front of the castle because that's where the parade's going to come through. If you want to get pictures of the parade with the castle behind it, this is the side you're going to want to be on. Also, normally I would say you want to be further back for fireworks, but this particular fireworks show is hosted by Jack Skellington. He's going to come out on the stage, and if you're too far back, you can't really get a sense of how cool that Jack Skellington character is. So that's why I like to be a little bit closer for this one. And then, of course, the stage show. For that, I think it's best to be about as close as you can get. That said, if you're right here on the road, you're going to have a great view of that show as well. In terms of how early you should get here for the first of those shows, probably if you want to be right on the road, if you want to be in the very front row, you're going to need to be here at least 30, if not 45 minutes before the first of those shows. In this case tonight, the parade is going to be the first thing that we're going to see. We definitely got here a little bit late. So I would recommend getting here earlier than we did, but you'll see once this parade is done, a lot of these folks are going to clear and we're going to have the perfect spot for the next 2 shows.
Due to ghoulish weather, we must delay this performance of Mickey's Boo to You Halloween Parade.
Unfortunately, they just announced that due to weather, they're delaying the parade right now. You're always kind of gambling in these situations. Is the weather going to get better or worse? Because if we decide to leave and go do other things, there's a chance that the later parade will get rained out entirely. The other thing to think about, though, is the stage show and the fireworks. Right now, I see them using a squeegee on the stage. That's because the performers can't do the full show if the stage is wet. So they're trying to get that stage dry. But of course, if it starts raining again, they're back at square one. This is actually the perfect moment for me to answer another question that we got, which was, when is the best time to come to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party? Because of weather, I would say you're always better coming later if you can. So the benefits of coming later in October, number one, the weather is better. It's less likely that it's going to be rainy. It's also more likely that it's going to be cooler and not so hot. Also, you'll have more showings of the stage show, the Villain Spectacular. They do 4 shows instead of 3 as it gets closer to Halloween. The downside, though, is that the tickets are a lot more expensive the closer you get to Halloween. But the question was, when's the best time to come? And the answer is when the tickets are more expensive, closer to Halloween. Well, that worked out perfectly. Just as I expected, as soon as the parade passed by, everyone kind of clears out and you can move forward closer to the castle. This is what I typically like to do. I like to see the parade from that side of the street. As soon as it clears, move forward closer to the castle, just so you get as good a view as possible of the show. And then as soon as this show is done, I'm actually going to move back a little bit because I do want to be a little bit farther back so that I can see the full effect of the fireworks, but not so far back that I don't get a view of that amazing Jack Skellington performance. While we're waiting on the show to start, let's go ahead and answer some more questions that we had sent in. One of them is a really good one, and that is, if you're here on a party day but you're not going to the party, can you still get in line for an attraction just 1 minute before the park is going to close? Normally, if you're here on a non-party day, you can do that. You can get in the line for an attraction 1 minute before the park closes, and they'll let you stay in as long as it takes to ride the ride. However, at Mickey's Not So Scary, if you're not here for the party, they will stop allowing people who don't have wristbands into certain queues a little bit early. It really depends on the ride, and it depends on the wait for that ride. I have seen them allow people onto certain rides right up until the park closes for the day for day guests. But for more popular rides like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, they will stop letting people in a little bit earlier than that. So if you really want to do a ride, you're better to get in that line earlier rather than later. Well, they just dimmed the lights, so I think the Villain Spectacular is about to begin. Let's check it out.
so many of them, and they're all dressed funny. Oh, you fools. Of course there are. Children, tell me, dumplings, what is the year? I said, what year is it? Sisters, it has been 31 years since we have last returned. We're getting better at this, and it is All Hallows Eve, our favorite time of year. Really? Remember what happened on our last Halloween?
We turned to dust.
Drop a mic.
Good All Hallows Eve. It seems that mischievous magic has caused this performance of Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular to be delayed.
Well, that was most unfortunate. So the show looked like it was going to go off without a hitch. The stage must have been dry enough. Everything was great. And then all of a sudden, they cut the show short and said that there were some difficulties. I think the issue was weather, because shortly after that, it just started to sprinkle a little bit. It wasn't a lot of rain, but it was a sprinkle. And that's all it takes for this show, because the performers, obviously, they need to keep their performers safe. And if it's slippery on that stage, they just can't do the full show. Well, the fireworks have now been delayed by a monsoon of rain. I mean, out of nowhere, it was just a downpour with lightning, the whole shebang. So I feel like this is the ideal moment to answer a question we got from Bree Bree. Bree Bree asked, how do you still make the most out of the party even if it's raining? And as you can see, the rain definitely messes up a lot of the big featured attractions at this party. Much like any day at Disney World, when you get thrown a curveball, the best thing to do is to just look for opportunities. So let's put up our umbrellas, take a stroll around the park, and see what fun things we can find, even though the thing we planned on doing is currently rained out. Let's go do it. Well, we definitely managed to find some fun, and we made it back in time to see most of the fireworks show. Right now, the rain is still coming down pretty hard, so what I would love to do is go do some trick-or-treating. I've only got one little token in this bag, and I think I need a lot more to find out what kind of allergy-friendly treats are going to be available at the end of the night. So we're going to start here in Tomorrowland, work our way around, and do some trick-or-treating. Let's go do it.
Humans are smart. Who would have thought to wear plastic bags? Humans just did it. They're like, let's put plastic bags on.
Here at Fairy Tale Hall is not only a trick-or-treat stop, it's also where you're going to find Maleficent and the Evil Queen. Now, as we went through, the Evil Queen had to go. She had to poison some apples, so she will be back later. While it's possible to find villains roaming around the party, especially if it's raining like this, your best bet for finding Maleficent or the Evil Queen is just to come trick-or-treating here at Princess Fairy Tale Hall. All right, there is my stash of allergy-friendly tokens. Most places gave me 1 token, a couple places gave me 2. So we're gonna see how much I can cash these in for right now. The party's almost over, so we're not gonna make it to all the trick-or-treat stops. We're right here near the Liberty Square ticket office, which is one of the places where I can turn in my tokens and get some allergy-friendly treats.
So, if you're concerned about food dyes, like food colorings, this is the one that we would ask you to avoid, the Smarties.
Okay.
But if it's something with, say that you're vegan, then we would say we're going to avoid this gummy bear specifically due to having gelatin in it.
Okay.
As well as the caramel whirlers due to having wheat, soy, and then as well as the Remy graham cracker because it has similar ingredients as well.
I got a pretty decent candy haul, and I was surprised actually by how high quality the stuff that I got was. So when you go in, they're gonna ask you about what your allergy or diet sensitivities are, and they've kind of got a guide right there, and they can kind of point you in the direction of the different candies that would be right for you. They had a wide variety of dietary considerations that they could accommodate there. Everything from sensitivity to dyes, to gluten-free options, vegan options, chocolate-free options, nut-free options. While they probably can't accommodate every single food sensitivity, there was a lot that they could accommodate, and they tried their best to give folks who had those sensitivities a somewhat comparable experience. This is really a great thing that Disney does at these events, and definitely something you should take advantage of if you've got some specific sensitivities you're concerned about. At the end of the night, however, Eric definitely ended up with a lot more candy. We put his pile next to mine. They did let me know, however, when I turned in my tokens that I didn't actually need to go collect the tokens if I didn't want to. I could just bring them that bag, showing that I had chosen to get allergy-friendly things instead of the traditional treats, and then they would just fill that bag with the treats that met my dietary requirements. Well, now that the party's wrapping up, I do want to do a quick lightning round of questions that we didn't have a chance to cover during this rainy night at Not So Scary. One question I thought was really funny. They said, is there anything that's actually scary at Not So Scary? And the answer to that is no, not really. There's not really anything super scary here. Even your little kids, probably the scariest thing are going to be certain character encounters. I did see some little ones get a little scared by Jack and Sally or Maleficent, but you kind of know your little ones and whether or not that's going to freak them out. Another related question that I wanted to answer was, what if you have little ones who maybe get overwhelmed by the sounds, the fireworks, the crowds, all of the sensory overload that happens at these parties? Where can you go to kind of decompress? If your little ones are really, really little, like toddlers, you can go to the Baby Care Center, which is about as quiet and peaceful as it gets. That's over there beside Casey's and the Crystal Palace. Another great option, though, for kids of all ages, just head into Storybook Circus. Back in the very back, they have this area that's covered, so even if it's raining, you can go there, and they keep things quiet. There's lots of seating back there, and that's really, I think, meant to be the decompressed, quiet zone. Another question that we got asked was about wait times for attractions. Now, obviously, in today's video, we didn't have a chance to do that many attractions. The one we tried to do, we got rained out of. We did, however, keep track of the wait times all night as we went through the party. We're going to post those in a blog post over at earscouts.com. In that same blog post, we're going to answer a bunch of questions that we didn't have time to answer in this video. So if you asked a question and you didn't hear the answer here, head over to earscouts.com, check out the the blog. We'll put a link to it in the description down below, and you'll find even more answers to questions there, including the different wait times that we found throughout the night. I will say tonight was a little bit skewed because of the rain. When it rains, it does cause certain attractions that stay open during the rain to have higher than normal wait times. That said, I think the highest wait time we saw all night was about 45 minutes, and that was for Tron and Space Mountain during the heaviest part of the rain. So people were going to those because they were thrill rides that they could still ride even in the rain. The final question that I want to answer before we go, because I think this is one that a lot of people have: is it possible to do all the character meet and greets, see all the shows, do all the things that are special about this party in one party night? The answer to that is no. There's no way to do it all. If you want to try to do everything, I would recommend come for at least 2 nights, if not 3. Another thing that can happen, much like tonight, if the weather isn't cooperating, some of the things that are happening at the party that you might want to do, you wouldn't be able to do because they were closed. For example, there was a Descendants dance party over in Tomorrowland. That's one of the new things that happened this year. We weren't able to check that out because it got rained out. Another new thing that happened this year were roaming villains. We didn't really see a lot of roaming villains, I think mainly because of the weather. For most people, however, coming to more than one party is not a realistic option. So what I recommend you do instead, prioritize the things that matter to you. Pay attention to the weather. If it looks like you're not going to be able to do certain things that were on your list, go ahead and shift gears. Start doing some of those other things that were on your must-do list that can be done during the rain. Even on the craziest, rainiest nights like tonight, you can still get a whole lot done at this party. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this very damp night at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Before we go, I want to give a huge thank you to our Patreon family. Thank you all so much for supporting what we do here at Ear Scouts. If you'd like to join them and get access to exclusive bonus content, head on over to patreon.com/Ear Scouts. And if you want more answers to not so scary questions, head over to our new blog at earscouts.com. Last but certainly not least, I want to thank all of you for watching this video. I hope it helped you to prepare for your not so scary adventure. If it did, help us out by giving this video a like, subscribing to our channel, and ringing that bell. That way you'll be notified whenever new videos like this come out. Until next time, don't forget to think happy thoughts, everybody. We'll see you again real soon.